We have Senator Kennedy, then Chairman Wyden, and then Senator Braun.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Mellon, is your expertise in the area, Mr. Bunn made this distinction, is your expertise in the area of tax avoidance or tax evasion or both?
Welcome back to the Constitution Corner, where America's roots guide its future. If you're tired of the double standards, tired of unelected so-called experts making baseless claims without evidence, and sick of watching major corporations get used as political punching bags while DC elites play games, then smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because today we're breaking down yet another classic Senator John Kennedy moment. And it's one for the record books.
I would say both. I think the lines, there are situations where the lines might get blurry, especially on the corporate side. But in my...
it's both.
It's both. In short, it's both.
Do you believe that there are major American corporations that are cheating on their taxes?
I think yes, there are cases where the transfer pricing regulations are not being followed, and Mr. Curtis's testimony speaks to that.
Who are they? Who are the five? Name the five American corporations that are the biggest tax cheats.
Well, this is a question for the IRS. It's their job to enforce the laws. So I wouldn't.
But that's a pretty serious allegation you made there, and I'm just asking you who they are.
There are cases pending against a number of companies until those cases conclude. It's not.
Who do you think they are? You're an expert in this area. I'm just asking you. You talked a lot, and I've read some of your writings about American corporations cheating on their taxes. I'm just asking you who they are.
I wouldn't use the word cheating. I think that they are taking advantage of the gray zone.
You used it in your testimony.
I'm sorry?
You used it in your testimony. I'm not trying to trick you. I just want to know you have been very vociferous in saying that American companies are cheating. Okay, that's America. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're an expert, and just tell me who they are.
I stand by that. I think that there is evidence to suggest that some of these companies and the IRS has pursued cases against a number of the companies that Mr. Curtis has analyzed, including Apple and Microsoft and Facebook and Coca-Cola. Is Apple
a tax cheat?
I wouldn't say tax cheat. I think that's putting it too strongly, and I didn't use that word.
Then who are they?
I wouldn't say tax cheats, but I think they are crossing the legal lines that have been set by Congress and by the IRS in the relevant regulations. And because the IRS is outgunned, they're not able to enforce the law against them.
Let me start over. Do you believe that there are major American corporations cheating on their taxes?
I believe they are coming very close to crossing the line, and it's difficult for IRS that is outgunned to enforce the line.
Are they crossing the line or not?
Well, it's up to the IRS to enforce the line if they don't have the resources.
I'm asking you your opinion. You're an expert.
I think there's a good case to be made that, yes, they are crossing the line. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Who are they?
That's up to the courts and the IRS to determine.
You made this allegation, but you don't want to say who they are? If you know who they are, you just don't want to tell us.
I think that's been explained by Mr. Curtis in his analysis.
I'm asking you to explain. You talk about tax cheats. I'm just asking you who they are, and you don't want to tell us.
It's again, I think it's for the IRS to enforce the line, and we need to make sure that the IRS is properly.
Well, do you have a list of these tax sheets?
No.
Okay. Have you been to the IRS and said, here are these companies and they're cheating on their taxes and I can show you how they're doing it?
No, I'm not. That's not I've never practiced in that area of law. I'm not a tax whistleblower lawyer.
All you've done is run around saying American companies are cheating on their taxes. I can't tell you who they are, and I haven't been to the IRS to show my data to the IRS, But I want you to believe me that they're cheating on their taxes. Is that your testimony today?
No, Senator, no.
Sure sounds like it.
I think that the case against some of these companies has been well documented in the
Which
in
companies?
the,
Let me
in the
ask you one,
public.
because I'm going to run out of time. Tell me, in the last 23 seconds, here's your chance. You believe they're major American corporations cheating on their taxes. You just testified to that. I believe you told me yes. Tell me who they are.
I think there are the companies that Mr. Curtis
Tell me who
discussed
they
in
are, in your
his
opinion.
testimony.
Tell me who they
It
are.
includes some of the big tech companies.
Who are
It
the
includes
five
some
worst?
of the pharma companies that are.
Who are the five worst?
I don't have a ranking. I have
You're
not
not going
compiled.
to. You don't want to say.
I haven't looked into that.
You understand it makes it hard to believe your allegations if you won't tell us who they are. Talk's cheap. You ever heard that expression? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Kennedy, true to form, cut straight through the nonsense in a Senate hearing that was supposed to be about tax enforcement and corporate responsibility. But what we actually witnessed was a textbook example of how the left throws around serious accusations, then folds when asked for facts. Miss Mellon, brought in as an expert on tax avoidance and evasion, wasted no time suggesting that major American companies are cheating on their taxes. But when Kennedy asked the most obvious follow-up, who? The deflection started flying. Folks, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater and then say, well, I'm not sure where the flames are. That's exactly what happened here. She said these companies are crossing legal lines, but when pressed, she refused to name them. Kennedy gave her multiple chances. Who are they? Who are the five worst? Have you told the IRS? Do you have a list? Crickets. She even said, I haven't practiced in that area of law, and I'm not a tax lawyer. Well then why in the world are you testifying to Congress making accusations that could impact reputations, markets, and policy? Let's be clear, this is not about protecting corporations for the sake of it. If someone is actually cheating on taxes, they should be held accountable. But this is about fairness, about due process, about evidence, and about the dangerous trend of politically motivated hit jobs dressed up as expert testimony. You can't make sweeping accusations against major employers, companies that power our economy, and then hide behind weak academic jargon when you're asked to back it up. Kennedy saw that coming a mile away and dismantled it piece by piece. And let's not ignore the bigger picture here. This is part of the left's ongoing campaign to demonize American business, especially successful corporations in tech and pharma. Why? Because it fits their redistributionist agenda. Because they need a villain to justify more IRS agents, more regulations, more power. But here's the problem. They don't want the truth. They want sound bites. They want to scare the public into thinking that big corporations are stealing from the people, when in reality, it's Washington that's bloated, inefficient, and weaponizing every institution it controls. If this expert truly believed in justice and accountability, she'd be working with the IRS, filing real complaints, presenting data. Instead, she parades her opinions before the cameras and hopes no one asks the hard questions. But she ran into John Kennedy, and thank God for that. So where does that leave us, patriots? We need to defend truth. We need to push back against reckless political theater that masquerades as governance. And we need to demand that accusations, especially those thrown at the businesses that create jobs and build this country, be backed up with hard evidence. Here at the Constitution Corner, we believe in truth over narrative, law over emotion, facts over feelings. So share this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Do you think this kind of testimony helps or hurts America? Do you trust these experts who make claims without proof? And most importantly, keep your eyes open. Because this isn't about taxes, it's about control. And we, the people, must never let the government weaponize accusations to punish success and silence the private sector. Until next time, stand strong, speak truth, and may God bless the United States of America.